Dilettante vigilante, make the humming accosante. Dilettante vigilante, make the humming accosante. Dilettante vigilante, make the humming accosante. Dilettante vigilante, make the humming accosante.
It was sort of a pastiche on 40s British documentaries. You know, very specifically British. This particular phrasing, this "upon this might we brunch." Sorry, upon these might we brunch even. It's quite British, but it has various problems with Britishness. And then of course a lot of the sound isn't specifically British. You know, it comes from American influences like jazz. But as well as that, it follows on from a track on the last thing I did, Nandgate, which was called "What Are We Going to Do for Lunch," which was quite a dark, difficult song. A question, a point in a relationship where you're not sure what to do. "Upon these might we brunch" is very specific. It is saying these are the things we're going to brunch on. Brunching happens here. This is the beginning and end of brunching. Well, I moved to this area about a year back, not quite a year back even, and I don't know anyone who lives around here. Partly that was deliberate, you know, a new place to explore, so somewhere new to that I don't have any previous history on. You get a lot of inspiration from that sort of thing. I don't know if inspiration is the right. You can write your own stories about the place. If you've been in a place for a long time, everyone's got their stories. Everyone knows this and that about that part of the area. If you don't know anything about it, you can start to invent histories for it, and you're also inventing them on your own terms. There's a lot of modal jazz in the sound of this album. It's not a modal jazz album, but I'd always had a slightly modal approach to scales anyway, and I was interested in this use of the relative major against the relative minor, because if you think of the normal cliche that major is joyful, happy, majestic, minor is melancholic, sad, etc. When you start to play these relative majors and minors against each other, you get ambiguous emotional states. The modes, since they take on elements of both major and minor, allow sort of further ambiguities, and I think that was what I was looking for in this. Vaughan Williams, Gabrielle Fauré, early Can, there's even a bit of Galaxy 500 in there. It's all sorts of things, but I think influence it would be a bit of a difficult matter with this, because I tended to start playing and using these modal methods I was saying about, and then I'd find afterwards, looking at it, that sounds a bit like this, that sounds a bit like that. So if there were influences, they came up from underneath, rather than I was never thinking generically about it. There's a lot in the album about utopia and dystopia. This is tied in with the sense of place, the sense of specificness and psychogeography, and that. The utopia and dystopia are just different ends of the urban experience. There's one track which seems to be about a panopticon, which is one of those things which I find myself seeing a lot in not only the urban environment, say the shopping mall or whatever, but you also see that in the electronic environment we've been building for ourselves. Facebook, for instance, we seem to want to set up this surveillance web around ourselves, which I find worrying. I wonder exactly why we're trying to do that. The utopian side to it, I've always been interested in that, but that's partly psychogeographical, because if you go another 15 minutes around the corner from here, you've got Hampstead Garden Suburb, which is another one of these early 20th century utopian projects. When I was living before in Walthamstow, there was the ghosts of William Morris about. I seem to have these. Maybe that's anywhere in the United Kingdom. You'll have these utopian dreams sort of floating around wherever you happen to be.
So Britain is a country of failed utopias, basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's quite all right.